Hey everybody, welcome to Etc. Live. It's so good to see you guys, so good to be back. I am beyond thrilled tonight because I have not only just one member of one of my favorite bands in Canada, I have the entire Juno Award-winning, double platinum selling band PRISM. Every member of the band is here. Of course, we've got Tad C. Goddard, Gary Grace, Harlow, and Marc Gladstone in the house. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hey.
We're having fun here tonight. Al and I were joking earlier. It's like herding cats when you have a whole gang, right?
You got the cats here.
It's a gaggle of rock stars. a herd, a school,
a kennel of cats.
A flock.
I think that's a murder.
A murder of crows is what it is. Anyway, so happy to have you guys all here. Thank you for being here on Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So
thank you.
Yeah, personally, I was joking earlier. I'm not a hockey fan. That gives you the extent of my interest in sports. But so actually, it's interesting because Tad and Gary, this is your first time on the show.
Yes.
Al, this is your second appearance, and Mark, this is your third.
Third?
Yeah,
I believe you.
On the show with
Mark's third
Mark.
appearance.
I've been moonlighting. Sorry, guys.
And I actually have fond memories of Mark's first appearance on the show because, interestingly enough, Mark and his lovely wife Sherelle were my first interview ever in my whole career as a music correspondent. And so, a friend of mine had a show at Just TV, and he invited me to be a guest host, and I was asked to pick my own guest. And so I called on Mark and Sherelle, and they graciously offered to come on. And I remember just being absolutely terrified because I had never done it before, and so nervous. And then Mark and Sherelle came on, and they were just so friendly and easygoing and warm, and they just, I immediately relaxed and got through the interview. And an hour later, the station producer called me and offered me my own show. So I kind of always feel like Mark and Sherelle, you guys played a little part in that, and so I always have fond memories.
It's all our fault.
Yeah, good stuff.
We were only relaxed because we were in Castlegar. We were on holidays at the time.
That's right. And I remember a train was going by.
Probably, yeah.
It was like, right on. But at any rate, it's been a minute since I've, really connected with any of you on the show. And so even though it's past summer, I'm just curious, how amazing was your summer getting back at things, compared to the last 2 years of the Strange when nothing was happening? What was it like this summer to come back?
It was awesome.
Tad?
The best. We were so bloody bored. We did a gig. It was a live thing, that was, simulcast all over the world. And our only live gig for a long time was at the Commodore, where that holds 1,500 people. And there's 2 people in the audience. Our soundmen are 3 people and 2 cameramen. And
that was the live stream. That was the live stream.
The live stream.
I watched that. I was there.
Oh, my
you were
God.
there.
I was there in my living room.
And then we did some gigs, and we need to gig more often. And it's great that we're gigging again. It's awesome.
It makes a big difference with people right in the room.
I can't imagine, because I really felt
bizarre
for you guys because I knew, and I remember Al had some really snappy boots on. You just got new boots, and they were just amazing. And I remember
Those were brand new.
We talked about them, and I was like zeroing in on his boots, and I remember sitting in my living room. I had a friend over, and we watched it. We got tickets and watched it, and I remember thinking how strange that must have been performing to nobody.
Yeah, we should probably comment. It wasn't as though we didn't sell any tickets. There was nobody allowed in there.
Nobody in person. Yeah, good clarification.
It was a blackout. Yeah, you could hear crickets at the back of the room at the end of every song.
Yeah, but there were hundreds of people watching.
We knew they were watching online, so we still knew we were playing to people. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And
millions,
so Mark, I'll ask you this, Mark. I'm just curious because I know a lot of people, suffered almost some degree of, I guess anxiety. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but getting back to work and going back into the workplace and just getting back out into the world. And I'm curious, did you experience any of that, or was it just like going home?
When we actually started playing in front of people again, no,
Yeah.
it was kind of more like just a relief. It was finally, is this over? I don't know. Like at the time, our first show, if I was a promoter, I'd still be a little bit leery at that time, I think. So are these going to keep going? I don't know. You don't know that. So I guess anxiety from that perspective, I suppose, but not just like, did I forget my parts or something? I do that all the time anyway. So.
And how about you, Al? How about you, Al? How was it for you? Was it just like going get back?
The only anxiety would be if the airlines would lose our guitars.
Right.
Oh no.
I think I lost count. We were stuck overnight at Toronto and I think Thunder Bay Airport. Was it 3 times or something like that in total? We had to grab hotels and things, and our guitars did go missing, didn't they? Especially yours, Tad.
Tad's ended up at my house. It's on my wall right now.
Every gig. That's mine, that's mine, and that's mine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I am the drummer, even though there's a bunch of guitars behind me.
I was gonna say you got a lot of guitars for a drummer there, Gary.
Oh yeah.
Right on. You know what?
You know what? Guitar player than a
Shut up, Tad. I knew that was coming, buddy.
We had this conversation before the show, right?
No, about 25 years ago, in Nick Hiller, when we were doing something else. Yeah. Oh boy, we had a late night jam. Me, him, and a buddy of ours, and yeah.
Good times.
Skip
good times. Yeah.
Well, you know what? The comments are flying in. The people are flying in, and I kind of knew that was going to happen. This show has been a long-awaited event, and so Shelley Michelle Doyle's just saying, "Hey guys, Doug Corby. Hey, Doug Corby's a good friend of the show. He's just saying, my buddy Al. You must know
Doug. We see you. We're seeing you.
And Gene Greenwood says, "Hey guys."
Hey,
oh
Gene.
My God. Mark Chichkin from Helix is in the house.
Oh,
right.
Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey,
Mark.
brother.
Hi, Kelly. Hello, gentlemen. Nice to see you guys. Ron Hockey in Kelowna. Hope to see you guys again soon. Michelle Truman, of course.
Hey, Truman.
We love Michelle Truman. So Michelle, of course, is the singer
her.
for Toronto, the Toronto band. And she's saying, yeah, Ted, tell us. She must have been referring to your guitars, I'm thinking. Right on. Yeah, tons. We'll get to a few more comments here in a bit. So you know what? Let's rewind. I want to rewind for a moment. And I know artists get super sick of answering this question, but people really want to know. And they just do. And I know you've answered it 1,000 times before. So just briefly, and I'll start with you, Al. Like, when did you know you're going to be in this business, and how did it all come together for you?
Oh no, here comes the history lesson. Giving away my age. Well, my family was musical. My dad had rhythm and blues records and Hank Snow and Frank Sinatra and all that. And my older sister, Wendy, was in the first generation of Elvis fans, Elvis the Pelvis.
Yeah.
And all her friends, all these girls were just going bananas over this guy. And I thought that I should investigate this further. And so all of a sudden we had all of Elvis's records and between that and my dad's R&B stuff. And so I think the disease struck pretty early. And then my generation was just perfect timing for the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the Who and the Yardbirds and all that kind of stuff. You know, I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan in February of 64. And that was it. There ain't no cure for this stuff.
No.
There you go. How about you, Todd?
Oh my God. I have no idea how I got it. I guess it's just God gifted. My uncle is Ed Bickert, a famous jazz guitarist, and I guess it just came by natural. And honestly, my first instrument was the bass guitar, the most boring instrument in the planet. And I actually had the most fun playing it, and I'm still playing it. I mean, ever since I was 8 years old, I've been playing bass. Yeah.
8 years old. Wow.
At 8 years old, bass guitar. I got a Sears Silvertone guitar from my parents, Christmas Day. Nice. And I was like, yeah! And I was playing Sunshine of Your Love, and my mom's plates are falling off the bloody shelves and all that stuff. Bass amp crank. Oh yes. Yeah.
Good stuff, Mark. How was it for you? How did it...
I have no idea. Just natural thing. Same as Al. It's just something that came naturally. It was like, yeah, you are going to be a gardener, and you're going to be an electrician, you're going to be a plumber, and I was a bass player right from the word go.
The black sheep.
Yeah.
Sorry, much the same as like most keyboard players started playing piano. I think I was 7 years old playing classical music. I quit 3 times. I think when I was 14, I was in grade 10 piano, and quit 3 different times in 1 year. Just sort of fed up with the I don't know, just the sort of the intensity of it, I think. So I wanted to play people like Billy Joel, Elton John, my favorites, Led Zeppelin, Jethro Tull, all those things. So I started playing that kind of stuff. And after that, I was writing my own music. I still remember some of those songs. And I got a gig with the sort of friends of friends. They came over and listened to me play. I got a gig. It was a cover band. I think the rest just built from there.
Right, and the rest is history, so they say. Hey,
Yeah.
Gary, how you doing, buddy? How about you?
Well, let me read you my bio. Born into a family line of drummers, Gary hails from Ontario. No, so that is sort of true. My father was a drummer, and my brother is a drummer. My older brother, Danny, and I guess it just, at a young age, my dad put me on stage, and then when I was 10 years old or 11, my brother Danny was telling people, his band members, younger brothers, you got to jam with Gary. He's a great drummer. He was saying I was way better than I was. So I had to try and live up to that. And before I knew it, I was gigging at 11 years old. And by 14, I was gigging every weekend, filling in for my father.
Really?
Yeah. I actually
You guys-
stole one of his gigs.
You guys
Hey, Gary,
all started so young. You guys all started
Yeah.
so young.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
incredible.
So can I just add something to
Absolutely.
what I was saying? So when I said that a friend of friends came over and they listened to me play and we started a band, one of those 2 is Rick Feddick. That's the drummer. Most of these guys would know Rick Feddick. He's the drummer for Paul Rogers now. We're still good friends, but that was the very first band I was ever in was with him.
Army.
Cool.
What's that?
Army, right?
No, this is way before Army. Band was actually called Monarch, which is a pretty awful name for a band, but yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just going to go to a few more comments because there's so many. I'm probably not going to get through them all, and I knew that was going to happen. Phoebe Boucher, I wanted to give her a shout out. She's a good fan of the show.
Hey,
loves you
Phoebe.
guys. She's one of your biggest fans. She's like, hey guys, hi Kelly, Phoebe here. Glad to see all of you, including Kelly Barrett, in the same room. I would agree. This is, I'm digging this for sure. Oh, and my sister's in the house. Hey, Leanne.
Oh,
Sweetie.
hello.
Hello.
My sister is probably definitely responsible for me falling in love with PRISM because she was a few years older than me, and I used to steal her PRISM albums. And that was the time frame that I became obsessed with having a career in music, and I would sing along to PRISM in my airbrush. And I was like 11, and I was just obsessed. I was absolutely obsessed. Gary Jones, hey buddy, PRISM from Young and Restless to A Night to Remember. This is a band to remember and still go to see. Awesome, bravo guys. Thanks, Gary. Ricky Lamha, welcome back, Kelly. You were surely missed, and I'm so excited to see my rock idols. You have been my favorite band ever since I heard you guys on the radio airwaves back in the 70s, and I play your albums on a daily basis.
Nice.
Thanks, Ricky. Hey, Lisa Guliak is in the house. Hey, Lisa, we love
Lisa.
Lisa. Woo!
Hey, Lisa.
So Lisa Guliak of Lisa Guliak Photography was responsible for all the promo pictures, the gorgeous pictures that you guys all saw in the promos. She's definitely one of the premier photographers of our Canadian rock stars, so really good to see you too. Speaking of that, I just want to give a big shout out to my show sponsors, Writers and Rockers Coffee Company. The Rockstar Coffee blends of the rock stars, and tonight's coffee feature is the Todd Kearns Damn It Brew.
Oh, right.
Nice.
Cool stuff. Yeah, cool stuff.
We'll drink to that.
www.writersandrockers.com. Check it out. Some of your favorite bands have their own coffee blends out, and there's all kinds of cool swag and merch and all that kind of good stuff. So Ricky was mentioning, listening to you guys on the radio airwaves back there, and my question for you is, what went through your head the first time you ever heard yourself? Al, I'll ask you first. The first time you ever heard yourself on the radio, what was that like? What went through your mind?
Well, it was a kind of a childhood dream come true,
I bet.
because like everybody else, we're all fans of our favorite bands and so forth, and then all of a sudden it's you. But you know what happens? then you got to top it. You got to keep it going and do better and better, you know? So yeah, all of a sudden you're put in this position. Well, okay, what's next? You know, next
Right.
song, next album. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Mark, was it slightly surreal? Is it slightly surreal? I would imagine it must have been.
I have to go to a different band, and so
That's fine.
Okay, so the band was formed in Paris. Yeah. And yeah, I've come at it from a different sort of perspective too, because we've been trying to get this song on the radio for the longest time. It's called "Say Goodbye," and Virgin said that they would play it, but they didn't like the mix. So if we remixed it, they would play it. And so we did. We remixed it to the tune of about $3,000, and then they did play it. They said they loved it. They played it, but they didn't play that version. They played the first version. So it just kind of showed me, just kind of showed me how the wheels turn, right? Anyway, but yeah, when we finally did get to hear it on the radio, it's pretty special for sure.
I would imagine. Gary, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I keep saying, Alexa, play Gary Grace, but it's not playing any of my fusion stuff.
That's weird. It works here.
So I have to go to PRISM. You know, I think one of the first bands I recorded that had a lot of airplay with, and there was even a music video. They had a lot of, finally they put the band in one, a band called Farmer's Daughter back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool to to hear my stuff, that stuff I'm recording on playing, you know. I mean, I think there was other stuff when I was younger, but, serious stuff. It was from that point on. And then when I hooked up with Al, we did an album way back still. And it's nice, when every so often I play 100 Years, Al.
Oh, drum solo.
That happened. That happened 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Big Black Sky,
8 minutes later.
Yeah. So
and so, Tad, I'm just curious: is it still kind of a kick when you hear? Because your songs continually get airplay even to this day, and is it still kind of a kick when you hear one of your songs?
Well, with me, it's another different entity in another band too. Is how when I first heard my song ever played, it was in a movie theater with doing a soundtrack. And we've got countless songs with Dave Steele, a singer he's actually the new singer for Trooper. Myself and Stephen Crane wrote Apollo songs. They're in a bunch of movies, and that's how I hear my songs now. But honestly, when I hear any PRISM song, I'm buying a coffee and I hear the song going, I sometimes I let it out. I go, yeah, I play in that band. And they go, no, you don't. I go,
that might be me. Just saying.
I'm thrilled every time I hear a PRISM song. I really am on the radio.
I would imagine. Well, I listen to a local station with huge Canadian content, and they play PRISM every day. And I was thinking today, PRISM has enjoyed this, 45 plus, a hugely successful career. People still want to pay to come out and see you. Your music is consistently played on the airwaves still. And I'm just curious, what do you? And I guess I'll start with you, Tad, since we were just speaking. What do you attribute that to? What do you think it is about PRISM's music that has literally just captured the hearts and loyalty of fans, then and still today? What do you think it is?
Great melodies and beautiful tunes. I mean, like, they weren't just fly by night little 2-chord songs. They are
right.
like epic tunes, right? Like Armageddon. Spaceship Superstar is a 3-chord song, really, 1 chord on bass, but still just the song, the keyboard solo, everything. They're epic tunes. They're just
melody. Take Me Away. Yeah.
Take Me Away is, oh my God,
melody,
that's my favorite song.
My favorite too, Al.
That's your favorite song is Take Me Away?
Take Me Away is my favorite song to play every night.
Melodically, that's one of the best. Yeah, melodically, I would say Take Me Away is right up there. My favorite to play on stage might be Armageddon, just because of the reaction from the crowd. That's
of course, that's nice. Yeah.
I got to confess this because on your first question, it was the first time you heard yourself on the radio, and that was my song, Take Me Away. And these days, if I'm in a supermarket, shopping for groceries, and I hear one of our songs on the music system, I stop and I listen because I think, oh yeah, there's that guitar lick that I should still be playing. You know, I relearn the songs as I'm shopping for, you know, groceries.
Yeah.
And so do you get recognized when you're in the grocery store, Al? Do people go, hey?
Once in a while, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, only if I'm in the frozen food section.
Our leader rehearses at Save on Foods. That's great.
Yes. Midnight at Safeway. There's a new song.
Yeah.
I think Armageddon is truly one of my favorites, and I love it because I love the drum intro for starters, and I love the dynamics, and the build up before it kicks in. But I really like the radio jargon and at the beginning. I just think that it literally gives me chills, and that's an authentic recording, is it not?
Well, yes. So Lindsay Mitchell wrote the song. Bruce Fairbairn produced it, and we wanted to get the stereo crosstalk. And Rocket's girlfriend's dad was an Air Force pilot. He was a real guy.
Right.
And so he showed us what they say to each other. And so he wrote a script. And Bruce Fairbairn, our producer, is one of the voices you hear on the record. And he's, you put the headphones on. I think he's on the right speaker. And he's reading what the pilot would say. And then Rocket's father-in-law, shall we say, was in the next room with a microphone. And they were talking back and forth. And so it was an actual jet scramble. It was like a NORAD kind of a scrambling the jets. Yeah.
And it adds such authenticity, right? Like that's a very cool story. And I think we talked about that before, Al, but I knew there was something authentic about that. I'm just curious for the viewers out there, drop a comment about what's your favorite PRISM song. We want to know. And Jim Robinson is saying, hi, Mark. Must be a friend of yours.
Hey, Jim.
Bev Harries, it was nice to see you guys in Calgary. Gary Drayton and I can't wait to see you again soon. Tammy George she's saying hello to Michelle Truman.
Not us.
Hey, Tammy.
Yeah.
Tammy George belongs to one of you, doesn't she?
Tad's wife, yes.
That's Tad's wife is saying, forget about you, Tad. I'm going to say hello to Michelle.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah.
Michelle's saying, I love you guys. Like, just she's saying that to you.
Truman?
Oh, Mark Chichkin from Helix is saying hello to Michelle Truman. I'm just feeling a whole lot of love in the room here.
Let's get Michelle on the air here.
Yeah, you got to get her on.
Everybody's bonding in the comments section here. It's a beautiful thing. So Todd Cook is saying, glad to see you back live, Kelly. Looking forward to this show. Hello, PRISM from Andy Christ. Welcome back, Kelly. Perry, good to be back. There are so many comments coming in. There's a ton of people viewing here. So
don't you guys watch football?
No, they're music people. My people are music people. They don't watch hockey. We were joking about that.
Oh.
I was joking with the guys. Like, I don't even watch hockey, so I didn't watch the Super Bowl because I have no interest in sports. Clearly.
Yeah. Too many sand traps.
UCU's Mackie, hey buddy, he's a good friend of the show. Thunder Bay loves you. Kelly, you're incredible. Oh, thanks, buddy. PRISM is a huge part of my life. Mark, here's a question for you. What is your top keyboard intro?
Top keyboard intro.
I'm assuming he's meaning your favorite or
intro. My favorite intro is probably "See Forever Eyes."
Yeah.
Yeah. There's more to do. I get lost to do in that song.
Yeah.
It's all about me.
Should be an opera singer, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, guess who's in the house? Mark's lovely wife, Cheryl Jardine, who was probably literally in the other room.
Hi, honey.
She's saying hello to Faye B. See, there's just a whole lot of bonding going on in the comments here. Yeah. George Salka wants to know who is the youngest. You don't have
actually
to
Tad. It's Tad.
You guys know George too. We did George's 63rd birthday, or no, 60th birthday 3 years ago. Believe it or not, in his backyard, he built
just outside of Kelowna.
In Peachland actually, but up in the hill, he built a big stage. His front porch was a stage. His dog Gracie sat right beside me on the stage. Obviously, she's deaf. Big old German Shepherd dog.
She wasn't before. She
playing. It was a great gig, right, guys?
Yeah.
But that's
fun.
Yeah, that's my big George. Yeah.
So you guys set up that question beforehand, eh?
No.
Did they? No.
But I am the youngest. Don't let this beautiful blonde hair.
Don't ask who's the oldest.
Tad's the weep. Yeah, we will.
Don't put Mark on the spot, Al.
Yeah.
Tad's the baby, the wee baby. Dino Vizzuti is saying hi, Kelly. Big hello to all the guys. Keep on rocking. Michael Patchuluk is
Hey,
it?
Hey, Mike.
Patch.
Hey, Mike.
Hi, buddy. We love Patch. Good
That's
stuff. Yeah. So here's a fun question for you. This is a question I've never asked anybody before, but can you each, and I'll start with you, Gary. Can you tell us of a job that you had before you became a big rock star that maybe wasn't music related?
I don't. Oh, I had one when I was 18 years old. I was a cook in a steakhouse for 3 months, and I saw some things I didn't like, so I quit, and I said I'm going back to music. But I never quit music. It was just during the winter, and I was only 18, so I've never really done anything else. I teach music as well. You know,
Right, and hence all the guitars behind you there.
Yeah, and my instrument, of course, is drums, but you know, I do teach. Hey, Tad, I'm teaching guitar now, buddy.
He's a better guitar player than drummer.
So, yeah.
Sign me up.
Going back to that old joke again. No. So if you need lessons and you live in Chilliwack, BC, guitar or drums, come on. I'm just kidding. Gotta pump it.
Right. Mark, what was the job that you had before the music thing kicked in?
When I was 15, I was one of those guys with those flashlight wands that parks cars. I worked at the P&E parking cars for concert events and stuff, which was kind of cool because one of the ways on the break you could go in and watch whatever concert was happening. So there's nothing going on while the show is happening, right? It's just people going and then leaving afterwards. So that was kind of cool. The actual job itself sucked. It's freezing cold outside sometimes. And yeah, so I didn't much like the job, but the benefit was the concerts for sure.
Right. So even in some indirect way, it was, kind of related to music, even the job then. Yeah. Al, what about you?
Well, I was supposed to have been a graphic artist. That's what my parents had hoped for me. And my dad was in graphics. And so I did that for a while. I actually served a short apprenticeship, and I did a few commercial art assignments and so forth. But again, all the trouble started, with that rock and roll thing. So I hope I didn't disappoint them, but they were very supportive. I didn't go in the direction they wanted me to, but they were very supportive. And I will also say that when disco took over, every musician I knew drove taxi, including myself. I became a cab driver until the disco thing died down.
We'll just wait that one out, right?
Yes.
We're going to sit this one out, wait it out.
I had a house gig for 10 years there. So during that time, I was pretty lucky there too.
A house gig where?
Survived it.
It was a place called South City, but I was there for 10 years, right through the disco thing. So
the disco. Tad, what about you? What did you do when you were
a
non-rock star?
Oh my Lord, I got lots of jobs, and I still have a landscaping business. I wanted Mark to mention something about when he used to be a hedge trimmer.
Oh yeah, you want to see the scar?
Tell him the story.
So I was it is actually that finger too. It's not just for props, but that's for you too, Ted. I was at the top of a hedge, trimming a hedge. It's about a 20-foot high ladder, and I passed the hedge trimmer to my other hand, which is dumb because the blades coast to a stop, right? So they did on my finger like that. And I'm at the top of the ladder, and I got a hedge trimmer. They're fairly heavy at the top, and I'm thinking, how do I get down this ladder, right? So elbows sort of on the railings and gingerly walking down this ladder. And I yelled out to the guy that I was working with. He comes, and he gets his pruning shears in because my finger's stuck. I can't get it out of the hedge trimmer. So he gets his pruning shears in between the blades and turns the wrong way, of course, first. And then when he does, get my finger out, there's blood everywhere. He takes me to Burnaby General, and I had to get 4 stitches on one side and 1 through the other. That's not the bad part though. The bad part was the guy that stitched it up, the doctor that stitched it up. He goes, I've never actually had to stitch somebody through the nail before.
Oh,
so sorry, but he went had to go right through the nail of the finger. So. And I actually did go back to landscaping after a couple of weeks, and lasted, I don't know, maybe a couple more weeks. And I said, that's not worth it. I need my fingers.
Mark, I thought Mark, sorry. I thought you were going to say Mark, I thought you were going to say the bad part. It's the beginning of See Forever Eyes.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? That day that I did that, so I've got a splint on like this. It's metal on the sides and there's a bunch of gauze and stuff. And I was playing for Doug and the Slugs at the time, and I had to play that night. So that's okay. I can play like this, but I kept jamming my finger into the, at the end of the keys, there's that little lip. So yeah, I never want to do that again. No more landscaping for me. You can have it, Tad.
Look at Tad. He just loves the story. He's just Tad's drunk.
Oh
So.
my God! Well, I see this thing going like this all the time, and then when Mark told me about it, I went, "Well, I could see that happening." I've never had my fingers that close to it, though.
Yeah.
Just because you know what you're doing.
Wow.
Therefore, that's why I've never had another job other than music. I don't want that.
Smart man.
Yeah.
Stick to what's safe. So Mark John Materi is saying, hi, Prism. I helped with sound and production when you played a Monday night at the Brunswick Hotel in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
The Brunswick. I played that bar. Did you? Yeah, that was a kind of a military. There was a lot of military there, it seemed to me, if I remember correct. Oh, Chris Knowles saying Mark rocks. There's Tammy saying hi, guys. So
See you, Tad.
Tad just disappeared.
Yeah, bye, Tad. Thanks for dropping in.
I think it went
the last 5 minutes. Must be the last 5 minutes of the Super Bowl.
For the Super Bowl.
Right.
I know, personally, my bet's on you went to get another drink. That's what I'm thinking.
Probably.
So, I like to bring this question up, and it's and I guess I'll pose the question. I'll start with you, Mark. So, technology has come a long way from when PRISM first started, and it's exploded into the music industry. And I'm just curious what your thoughts are on just the explosion of technology as in regards to the music industry. Do you think it's a good thing or not so much?
Well, speaking from a keyboard perspective, it's pretty cool to walk onto an airplane with my laptop over my shoulder and the actual keyboard I'm going to be playing is at the other end. I don't have to carry a bunch of gear. I like that. That's a far cry from having a Hammond and a Fender Rhodes and roadies hating me everywhere because I had all this stuff that was over 300 pounds. So that part's great. Technology, if you're going bigger picture, like all the AI stuff, not so enthusiastic about that. It's great that robots and stuff can do menial jobs. That's wonderful. I just don't think they have any place in art.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I would agree with you. There's definitely pros and cons. Al, what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, everything's measured like there's all the algorithms are dictating people's tastes for them and that kind of thing. And I just enjoy it when an artist comes out just on an acoustic guitar, banging on a piano or something, and no auto tuning,
Exactly.
And, now when you see a Grammy award-winning hit song, there's like 13 songwriters. Well, 13 people cannot write one song, so obviously someone's being consulted as to what the hit formula is, and there's just too many eyes and ears on this stuff, and everybody knows that. So I think people are just craving authenticity these days, and it's still there. I mean, as somebody pointed out, you can still find fantastic music that's made honestly. You just have to look for it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I would agree. I think it's good in some ways, but I have a problem with just this huge influx of music because anybody can write a song and post it on YouTube, and there's just this. Tad, I think we can hear your TV in the background.
Yeah, the question was who's winning the game?
Tammy's got the thing going. Yeah, I had my computer died. I'm on my phone now, so.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I'm glad you're back with us. So I think, but yeah, do you know what I mean? Because it used to be, and I've had this conversation with a few other guests, and it used to be like back in the day, to go see a band, it was like this really mystical, magical thing that didn't happen very often. And it was a big deal to go and hear a band that you knew sing songs. And now, anybody can just pump music out there. And we've kind of just become overwhelmed with so much. And I mean, I guess it's good for the individual people that are trying to do that. But I don't know, Gary, what are your thoughts on that?
you know, I don't like what's happening, to be honest with you. A lot of it. I like real music. I like when people can actually sing. I'm glad there's autotune for when I record and sing my own stuff. Other than that, I'm not
We
a
are
fan
too.
of a lot of what's going on. To be honest, with you. I'm more toward. Who said that? Which
No,
one?
I don't know.
Which
Who
one
knows?
of you?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's good stuff too. I mean, I like a lot of it. I like the way we can record so much easier and get such great quality. I like the fact that I can sit on a electronic kit and get like seriously good sounds.
Right.
But I don't like the fake stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean? I like true musicians playing music, and then the technology being used that way is fantastic.
Right.
I think there's a little bit of a backlash right now too, though. If I can throw this name out there, Sheldon Zaharko is a producer that I work with a lot, and he pretty much only records stuff that's live off the floor and stuff now. He doesn't do the auto-tune, the pop music sort of genre, and I don't know. I really appreciate that kind of stuff. So everybody's recording at the same time. You need to know about baffling.
Nice.
You need to know about miking, all that kind of stuff. All that stuff matters. All the skills that they learned, right? It's not just into a box.
Right.
Yeah,
And it was
exactly.
certainly helpful during the pandemic, for sure. I was, I wouldn't have started this show, I don't think, I wouldn't be able to do this and, to meet with you guys like this. So, there's definitely pros and cons. And Tad, what are your thoughts on that?
I missed the first part of that whole question, but
Oh, sorry,
but
no.
to live and digital stuff. I've recorded like punched in drum beats and they sound wicked, and a real drummer can't play them quite right, and a real
I've
drummer
had to
can't.
punch a few beats in the pad myself. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but if that's what the question was, I love live recording, like live everything. Pro tooling can kill the whole feel of a song. Yeah, if that's what the question was.
Pros and cons, right?
Pros and cons.
That's basically
I love running everything like live beds, live this and live that. Yes, and I hate auto tuning vocals. It's the worst thing on the planet. It takes the feel of, it takes the soul out of the singer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree. So
you know what? My phone's gonna die now too. What the heck? Everything's on like 10%.
Hey,
Same as the owner.
plug some of this stuff in, Tad. Technology. You got a little cord that goes into the phone or into the computer.
All that stuff. Oh my God.
Okay, well then, you know what? My next question is, because you all have different projects going on outside of PRISM. And so, Tad, I'll ask you first, in case you fade away when your phone dies. So, do you have any other musical projects on the go aside from PRISM?
I'm doing stuff with Ray Roper and the singer, guitar player. Recorded Paul Rogers' album at his home studio in Peachland here, and doing my own thing. I'm pretty well just a PRISM guy, honestly, to tell you the truth. Like,
right,
full on gone. It's I have more fun doing that. I don't want to spend any more money on my stuff because it's all right.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect. How about you, Gary?
Well, I'm 100% dedicated to PRISM. I have been for many, many years now. And, but on top of that, I do teach a lot. And for example, like my heart is also in jazz fusion, right? So I played with, great guitar players like Martone. I went touring Europe with him. It's more rock fusion-y. And I just did a gig the other day, like Thursday night with 3 smoking players. I meant to tell you about that, Mark, because you might have come down. It was at that Gilton Cove.
I can't.
But,
okay.
With Issa and Tilden and Simon.
Nice.
Great gig. So, I go out and I play the stuff for the love of it once in a while, too, which is more fusion-y stuff for, stuff that, these guys would fire me if I used it in prison. It'd be like, no. So, but in the same respect, when I do our gig, I love it. I just like laying it down and doing my thing and playing for the music, because that's what it's about. It's just when you're playing jazz fusion, the music is nuts anyway. So go ahead and go nuts.
Right. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, Mark, what about you?
Well, you mentioned it earlier in the show. Stone Poets is still going strong. We're actually working on our fifth album right now, and well, this is actually the first full size album. I guess the other ones have all been EPs. So this album's got a lot of songs on it, 15 songs I think altogether. So all the bed tracks are done. Actually, I just did a really, really cool thing last night. I think it was just last night. Maybe it was the night before. And I got the chance to go into a studio in Vancouver here, Monarch Studios, and play a 9-foot Steinway. So Al, you'll appreciate that.
Wow.
So there was it's just a little tiny thing about 1.5 minutes long that I wanted to put at the end of the album, just piano. So that's all going to be on the 9-foot Steinway, which got tuned every single day of this last week.
Wow.
As it was being used, right? $250 every tuning. And so it was really nicely in tune. It played great. It was awesome. I was in tears in the control room. Sounded
Wow.
beautiful.
Wow.
I saw the piece that you played on Facebook, and it was, I think I commented, it was mesmerizing. It was beautiful.
That was actually from a Head album, the second Head album. But
Right, yeah.
just the keyboard thing that I did. But yeah,
I thought I'd mention that. Yeah, that was just
Thank you.
That was beautiful. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. And Al, you have a new album that came out last year. Can you talk about that a bit? Share a little bit about that process?
Well, thanks. Yeah. I guess that was another thing to take off the checklist. You know, I'd always been like a solo artist guy anyway. I've always been doing my monkey on a stick at the front of the stage, doing frontman stuff. And when PRISM was first formed, we were together as the Seeds of Time before that. But I always had the Al Harlow thing going on, and so it was just something that I had to get off my chest, and I'm glad that we did it. And just to go back to the other question, we made sure that it was just like this band is, just like PRISM is. That just everybody's in the room and they're playing their instruments, and I think that's why people show up to live shows.
Yeah,
because it's real people, and you can see they're really playing their instruments live, real drums, real keyboards. We're all playing our guitars and singing for real, and there's that certain excitement that comes out of that because the audience knows that you're taking a chance, you're hitting the notes, So
Right.
there's that. It's like a high wire act at the circus,
Mhm.
So, this band does it, and that's why people still show up for live music. So my album was, I won't say that there was no overdubs at all, but but it was essentially live off the floor, and I'm proud of it. And now we're talking about getting this band back into the studio, right, guys?
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny you should mention that, Al, because Gene Greenwood was asking the question is there going to be any new PRISM music coming out, and that's what you're alluding to, obviously.
Do it
The
again.
answer is yes.
That's awesome. You have to keep me posted on that
Yeah.
for sure. So I am going to be right back because I need to plug my laptop in.
You
I was
and
laughing
Tad.
at Tad. Yeah. So go ahead.
Talk
and
amongst yourself.
Talk amongst yourselves. So I'll give you a topic. Peanut is neither a pea nor a nut. No, go ahead and talk amongst yourself. I'll be right back.
In the meantime, I'll play a drum solo for you all right now.
Oh, great. But apparently you're a better guitar player than drummer. So play that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Grab a guitar
so-
one.
Yeah. Right.
Grab a
I'm a
guitar.
drummer, people. By the way, not a guitar. I mean, I play a bit of guitar, but yeah. It's an old running joke that I had from 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And
We should actually talk
and-
about Kelly because she'll never know.
So, are we still on?
we are on it.
Probably.
Oh,
Hey, Al, you look great. You look great, by the way, Al.
Yeah.
Mark,
Oh, thanks. I'm awake
Yeah,
finally.
more lighting, please.
Yeah.
You actually are
I
kind
can
of dark.
leave into the.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that we're going to do this year, as we all know, the greatest guitar player in the world passed away in
Oh, yeah.
January.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
This year, PRISM is going to perform a Jeff Beck song in the PRISM show this year, and so long live Jeff Beck. We're going to
I should have worn mine.
Yeah.
And we won't say which song, but we've been talking amongst ourselves. So yes, Prism's going to do a Jeff Beck honorarium. We're going to do a tribute to Jeff.
Beautiful. I love it.
And
I absolutely love it. Yeah.
And it's a cool one, though.
I had a question now, getting back to your album here for a second. I wanted to ask you, so early on, so Bryan Adams and Jim Vallance, aka Rodney Higgs, were involved in a lot of the early writing of Prism songs. And what was it like to work with him again on your new album?
Oh, it was a blast. I mean, we co-wrote a song called "Way of the World," and it was some time ago now. But I told them that was it cool if we do a new version and so forth. And so I had their blessing. They said, "Yeah, go for it." And Jim said that the new version is now his favorite. So I think we got away with it.
Nice.
Right. So that's a long time friendship and a long time partnership in the business.
This will all be in my book.
Is there another book coming out?
Oh, yeah.
When's the book coming out? Oh, here's a question for you guys, and I'll start with you, Gary. So if you had to narrow it down, and I'll ask each of you this, if you had to narrow it down to just one person who's been intrinsically influential and an inspiration to you in your life, personally or professionally, who would that be for you?
Oh, there's so many. It's hard to narrow that down, I don't think I've ever had an idol, but I sure, I guess if I had an idol, it'd probably been Wayne Gretzky, but not a musician. But I loved watching Buddy Rich when I was a kid. I grew up, I'd be like 9 years old. Buddy Rich was on the Johnny Carson show. Buddy is one of the world's great drummers. He passed away way back, but my dad would wake me up at 11 o'clock at night, and I'm going, I'm in like grade 3 or, something. My dad would wake me up at, 11 o'clock. Gary, Buddy's on the Carson show. Come on, get up. And I'd go out and I'd watch Buddy. And then I'd seen him live when I was 9 years old. I got a nice picture of him right over there, me, my dad, and Buddy Rich. And, and I've seen him multiple times after that. So I guess, he was just fun to watch. He inspired me. He made me want to play because he did things that you couldn't just go home and do. The guy was a freak of nature. So I guess I'd say, Buddy Rich was a big influence on me in the way I wanted to be that kind of drummer, To some degree, I wanted to do that stuff if I could, But.
Cool. What about you, Mark?
Professionally would be a guy named Keith Emerson. Emerson, Lake and Palmer was his band. Huge in the 70s. I think that's probably the keyboard player I wanted to be most like. Tony Banks, maybe that's another one from Genesis. There's a few. My wife, she hear me? I don't know. She's pretty influential.
You just melted all the hearts of all the women fans. Like just in 1 second, Mark. Well done.
The guy down in the bottom right corner, Al Harlow's an inspiration every single night that we play. I can't imagine anybody doing what he does. So I know I'm a big sock. Sorry.
No, that's a great answer. That's a great answer. Al, what do you have to say about that?
Like an early inspiration?
Yeah, like somebody, if you had to narrow it down to like personally or professionally, whichever you choose. Oh, Sherelle came and gave more. Hi, Sherelle. Hi, Sherelle. Say hello.
She hasn't got headphones on again.
Hi. Hi, beautiful.
She's pushing the limit here. I already told you that there was a bug going around our house.
I just kissed you.
Yes, you did.
Wipe your mouth.
So hopefully she didn't give me more than a kiss.
Right.
If I can come in for 2. Oh, sorry, Al. I was going to show. Can I show something real quickly, Al?
Absolutely.
Because that's my dad.
That's the picture.
A drummer, and me and Buddy Rich. I was like 9 years old then.
Wow.
How cool is that? How cool is that? Hey.
That is cool.
Good stuff.
I had to show it since I mentioned it.
Yeah, no. I'm glad you did, Gary. Thanks. No, good stuff.
Way to go.
Al.
Yeah.
Oh well. I still have an older brother, and he was kind of the ace face around North Vancouver. Like my sister, all my sister's friends were saying, you know, oh, he's our hero, you know. So I had this kind of this sort of towering figure as an older brother, but we never lived together. I didn't know him all that well, my brother Wayne. But one Christmas morning, he showed up in his hot rod, and he knocked on the door, and he handed me a Christmas present, and it was a guitar album, Duane Eddy and his twangy guitar. And he just kind of said, "Here you go, kid." And then my birthday was 2 months later, so he showed up 2 months later with another Duane Eddy album. And so that was it. That was the beginning. And I said, "Do you realize that that's where all the trouble started?" And my brother, years later, says, "Yeah, I know what I was doing to you." So I asked my parents for a guitar, and that's where the trouble all started, right? So I can blame my older brother on the whole thing.
Right. And you know what? You were mentioning earlier that your parents, you know, kind of had other plans for you career-wise, but you know, I'm pretty sure they're with what you're doing. I think they're probably pretty proud of all of it.
They're probably
well, I certainly hope so. My dad, it was years after, well, a while after he passed away, he never spoke of his own musical career. But in the 30s and 40s, there was a Canadian singer, a star named King Gannon. And I didn't know that my dad was in his band. So
wow.
They toured and did radio shows, and you know, I think my dad might have been on his records too. But my dad never mentioned that. I think he didn't want to influence me, you know.
Right.
Yeah, no tales from the road. You know what I mean? Wild stories and that kind of stuff. And so I wish that we'd talked about it, because I didn't find out till after he passed away that my dad actually had a career. My dad was a fiddle player, like a violin player, and a guitar player. Yeah. So, but when my little gang of juvenile delinquents and I were forming our first band, my dad would drive us to our shows. Because we were too young to drive.
Right.
And so all of our equipment would fit in the back of my dad's Chevrolet Impala. And Dad would drive us to the teen dance or whatever it was. And then he'd go see a movie and come back 2 hours later and drive us home and say, "How was the show, boys?" "It was great, Dad." So, you know, my dad was very supportive.
Right. Great memories. Those are good memories, I bet. Great memories.
Yeah.
Great, yeah. 100%. Tad, who would you say has been an inspiration to you?
Early on, Paul McCartney, of course. But later on in my life, a guy named Skip Press, guitar player, Tommy Stewart, old drummer from Trooper, Al Harlow, and like Nick Gilder, the guys that I played with, and they really kind of steered me in the right direction, right, towards what I should do, and yeah,
good stuff. I'm going to read a comment here. I'm reading this off my phone because his name is Lee Cadfield, and he's a huge PRISM fan, and he's a great fan of this show. And he couldn't be here tonight. He's going to watch the show later, but he wanted me to read out a comment, and he just wanted to say, positive vibes related to, I just wanted to send positive vibes and congrats to the boys for 45 years of amazing music. So he's saying 45 years ago at the Kingsman Fieldhouse in Edmonton, he saw you with, he thinks it was Trooper, Chilliwack, or April Wine. Can't remember. He said, I got, but he remembers you guys, so that's all good. He says, and then some other bands, I don't know. He says, but I got pinned. I think that means liquored up. I do remember that, and may have got lucky with my girlfriend after Take Me Away.
Wow.
Aw. I would think he would say more like A Night to Remember or something.
Yes, I think so.
You know, I was listening to PRISM all afternoon, as I normally do before a show. I listen to my guest music just to sort of get in the mode and stuff. And I was listening to A Night to Remember, and I remember thinking, I wonder how many people got married to that song, or made a baby, or conceived a baby to that song, or like it's a beautiful song, right? And that's one of the things I've always loved about PRISM is you know, I just appreciate a band so much more when they could, you know, when they could do like, you know, kick-ass rock songs, but then they can launch into just a gorgeous ballad that invokes, you know, a lot of emotion in people, and PRISM certainly does that. And so Dave Sutherland is just saying hello. Who else? I just want to get as many comments. Perry Boyko's saying happy birthday, Al.
Oh,
well, here we go. Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow,
yeah.
It's Al's birthday tomorrow. So what are rock stars doing? What are rock stars do on their birthday, Al?
I'm sorry?
What do rock stars do on their birthday? What do you got planned for tomorrow?
I have no idea.
Will there be
Which kind of rock?
shenanigans?
Sedimentary or igneous? I don't know.
He's gonna polish your rolls.
Yeah, I'll just my dear lady and I are going to go out and have Jacqueline and I are going to go out and have a nice dinner, and I hope that there won't be the official number of candles on any nearby cakes, because that would burn the restaurant down.
You can have more than one cake.
Right. Right on. Well, happy birthday, Al.
Happy birthday,
to you.
brother.
Yeah, Al. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you. We won't talk numbers, will we?
No, not necessary. James Beaudry Music. Hey, James, buddy, it's good to see you. He's a
Hey,
great
James.
fan of the show here. He's just saying, "Oh, all you beautiful folks, I love you all so much. Keep rocking and rolling, and take me to the captain." He's saying.
Hey, James.
We will.
Right on. Now, Tad, what are you most proud of? If you had to, when you really think about it, professionally, personally, what's something that you're most proud of in your life?
My daughter.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, how old is your daughter?
She is 30. Here's the story. Al hasn't heard. Heard the story yet. I just had met my just on Facebook or whatever, my real sister Al, and the rest of the world. And,
yeah, you were telling us that.
And I found out that my real mother, who I'd never met, her birthday is March 3rd, which is my daughter's birthday, which is also my dad's wife's, my biological dad's wife's birthday, and my wife's mother's birthday.
Isn't that
So
crazy?
it's 4 March 3rds.
And we were talking about this before the show, Tad. Tell us what the odds are on that. We were talking about this earlier.
One in 20 million chances of that happening.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, no, my daughter. My
wow,
daughter's
what are the odds?
I'm my daughter's biggest fan. Yes, yeah,
Aw,
she's doing
great
so
answer.
well. Yeah.
Love that answer.
Thank
Love
you.
that answer. Yeah, Tad or Gary, how about you?
Well, my children, of course, too. That is, and other than that, I guess that I've been able to make a living playing music my entire life and teaching it. I've been fortunate that I haven't had to do anything else or something that I got up in the morning and dreaded going to. I feel very fortunate, and I'm happy in that way.
Oh,
Absolutely.
luxury, pure luxury.
Mark, what would your answer be to that question?
I'm just going to steal Tad's and Gary's. I mean, both of my kids.
Oh yeah.
My oldest is also in the sort of the music business. He writes bios and does videos for bands worldwide. My youngest is special needs, so he's not doing that kind of stuff, but happiest kid ever.
Yeah.
And yeah, the same thing as Gary. I haven't, aside from just little tiny jobs here and there that lasted for months, I've supported myself through music since, one way or the other, teaching or playing, since high school. So yeah, right out onto the road, summer of grade 12.
Yeah, definitely something to be proud of. Absolutely.
Wow.
And Al, what would you say to that?
Well, yes, and now that we're honoring our kids, yeah, I've got a son and a daughter that I'm really proud of. My dear daughter Heather's going to graduate from university next year, and
Nice.
she'll have a psychology degree, and I think it's a twofold degree. And my son Steve's a graphic designer, and he's doing some designing right now for the Feld Corporation, the monster truck
Wow.
franchise. Yeah, he's helping them design their new arena layout. So I'm proud of my kids. And also, he's a gifted mechanic, so he works on our car collection. And without him, I'd be lost.
Wow.
I was gonna say, Al, second coming after your kids would probably be your car collection. How many cars do you have, and how many vintage cars do you have?
Well, I lost count, but we during the pandemic, I got rid of one or two of them, but I think we're 9 now or something like that. But there were 10. But I got another Jaguar waiting for me. Like whenever I want to go grab it, they're going to sell it to me. They don't want anybody.
Whenever I want to go grab it, I'd be so down there grabbing it.
Drive the existing Jag to get the old Jag.
To get the new right.
Yeah, we'll drive the Jag down to get the new old antique collector Jag. But but my dear son, he can tear them apart and put them back together again and help restore them and all that. He's got some really good projects going too. A 1935 Chrysler Airflow, and he keeps my Thunderbird and my Rolls Royce and stuff on the road. So yeah, I'm a proud dad.
Awesome, perfect. I was thinking, Al's got a gaggle of cars. That's my word. That's my word of the day. A gaggle.
A gaggle.
It's a gaggle of rock stars, and Al's got a gaggle of cars. So here's as we're winding down here. Here's an interesting question. What's the best thing about being in prison, Gary?
What's the best thing about being in prison?
What's the best thing about it all?
There are many. And I've known Al for a long time now. We've worked together for a long time, and he's been a big influence on me as far as life. So maybe that's the best thing about being in prison. And Tad and Mark are great guys. They're friends, but we all like each other a lot. We're all friends.
You can tell that. It's very obvious. Yeah. It really shines through. Yeah, for sure. Mark, how about you?
That is just about it. Is that it's one of my favorite sayings is nowadays everybody's talented. Everybody can play, right? And it's hard to find a band that you can hang with and just have a good time with when we're on the stage, of course, but when we're not on the stage as well. And that's what PRISM is. No word of a lie. They're all very good friends. So we get along great.
Right. So Tad, would you say it's like a brotherhood?
Absolutely. But my favorite is the travel and airports. I love it.
Especially the airport.
Tad, you obviously never flew with WestJet at Christmas, or you wouldn't be saying
that.
No,
I don't need Christmas with WestJet. I get it every day with WestJet.
and Pearson.
And Pearson, yeah. No. It's the band is a wonderful, great hang. Great guys. I love them. They're brothers for years and years and years. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. Al, how does it make you feel to hear that?
Well, I mean, I'll repeat what we've just heard. I spent my whole life, as everybody else here has done, playing in bands, and there's lots of stories to tell and lots of good camaraderie. But this lineup that we're looking at right now, this takes it. This takes first prize. The trophy is here, like Mark said. This is the best hang. I feel like we're a family. I've never had a band that hung together as well as we do. We're all very supportive of each other, and I don't know if this gets said very often, but if you want to travel around the world and pick out the 4 or 5 best musicians in the whole wide world and put them together and call them a band, that doesn't necessarily make them a band. Right. You got to have that glue. There's that heartbeat going on, and there's that the look in the eye. We can give each other looks on stage, and we know exactly what we're saying to each other. That does not happen very often. And also, I don't know that I've ever been in a band where I once in a while didn't have to look over my shoulder, but not here, man. we take care of each other, and that translates into a musical language. Like Gary, if you do just something a little special, I just turn around and we're grinning from ear to ear, and we answer each other musically. If any of you guys do something on stage that just grabs my ears, well, I'm all over it. I'll tuck something in behind you. And we all do that. We can hear each other crystal clear, and we all love each other's playing.
Hey, Al, remember, hey, Tad, can you put an E string on this guitar? I'll never be your guitar tech ever again.
We could go on for another hour telling this story. Another day, yeah.
So are there any there's obviously shenanigans that happen on the crazy stuff happens on the road. I was on the road for years and years too. And is there any one story that stands out? Like just a crazy situation or something bizarre that happened or that you could talk about on the air?
Oh yeah. How about the big snowstorm that happened when we were doing a gig up in Fort St. John now? And all the flights were canceled, and then we had to get on a special plane.
A special plane.
Special plane, and had to give them all our names and addresses and all this other stuff. It was an uncharted flight, and Gary and I thought for sure we were dead. As we're flying
Yeah.
right into the big storm, and it's like,
Oh,
oh,
Like
wow.
no, here we
big
go.
airlines wouldn't fly there. Yet we're going on this little charter plane. I had to talk to the pilots for 5-10 minutes before I actually got on the flight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was scary.
And so
We've had a-
did they drop you off at your house? How did you have to tell where you lived? Like, where did they
No, they
drop
took-
you?
At the
took
gig.
us up
kidding.
took us up to the gig, because what we had to do is
Really?
we had to fly from Edmonton to Grand Prairie and then get in a vehicle and drive up to Fort St. John or whatever the heck it was, or Grand Prairie, and then a plane up to Fort St. John. But there's no landing in Grand Prairie, so that was out of the question. And this promoter said, no, you have to do this gig. I've got friends that have planes, and oh my Lord, yeah. But we made it.
Wow, that's some rock star stuff right there. Eh?
Mm.
we got
And
phone in
we're
it.
about to do it again. We're doing a northern tour, like at the
Yeah.
end of March. Yeah. Here we go again.
Oh, tell us
Yeah.
about your tour. Where are you visiting on your tour, just so people know?
Well, we are doing a northern tour at actually the same venue too. We're playing I think an arena in Fort Nelson, the Lido Theater in Fort St. John. But yeah, the calendar's filling up now. There's a new festival in Halifax that we're going to, and just all across Canada. Yeah, coast to coast. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we can all look forward to pretty much all over the province and provinces. We can all look forward to seeing you guys at some point this year, right?
Oh, we're hoping
Right.
to see everybody out there. Yeah, and
Right.
Yeah.
as we're saying, it's just so good to be back in the saddle again, and
Yeah.
good to be still doing the shows. And by the way, Kelly, welcome back from your accident.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thanks, Al. Thanks,
we're
Al.
so glad that you're.
I was- Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I was going to say I have a PRISM story. This has been 4 years. I'm glad to hear you guys are coming back on tour again, because it's been 4 years since I've seen you. And funny thing is, I had just moved here, so I didn't really know any people, and you guys were playing at Whoop Up Days, and they had this park and ride shuttle bus, and so I took that. We get halfway there, and the bus stops. This kid rides out on a bike, and the guy hits the brakes. I go flying across the bus. Everybody goes flying. My sunglasses go flying, and so he did that, or he would have really possibly killed this kid on this bike. And so I'm on my way to the PRISM show, and they're trying to get me to wait for an ambulance, and I'm such a freak. I'm like, no, I got a PRISM show to be at. I see ya, and can you call me a cab? And so I get to the show, and I get there, and Al's running around off stage as Al does. So I got a bunch of great pictures, and then all of a sudden I started getting dizzy. I started getting not feeling right. And then for the first time, I touched the back of my head, and I had a lump bigger than a golf ball, but smaller than a baseball in the back of my head. And I
Wow.
was like,
Wow.
so yeah, you can call it fandom, or you can call it just sheer stupidity, but I got to hear Armageddon anyway, and so then off I went to the hospital.
Oh wow.
That's my memory of the last time I saw you guys. So hopefully you'll be coming out to the area, and we can all see you. I just want to say a quick hello to Valina Davidson and Perry Boyko, because they're good friends of the show.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Sorry you guys, I'm not gonna have time to get to all the comments, and I'm so sorry, but thank you everybody for joining us. So one last question before we wind down. In a perfect world, where do you all see yourself in 5 years? Mark, we'll start with you.
Geez, I can't piggyback on all their replies now. Where do I
go
see
ahead.
myself in
Go
5
ahead
years?
if you want. Go ahead.
Well, I can't, because they haven't said anything yet. 5 years, I don't know. I still want to be doing this. Hopefully I'm still on stage somewhere. Old grandfather time is catching up, but I'm going to still be out there as long as I can. Still recording. I'm doing exactly what I want to do, Kelly. So I hope I'm still doing that.
Right. Just more of the same, right? Just
Yeah.
more of what you're doing now.
Mhm.
Gary, how about you?
Wembley with the new PRISM album.
Wow. Hey, that's a goal. That's a reachable goal, my friend.
Yeah.
Tad, what do you got to say about that?
Still doing the summer tours and rocking out and having a blast doing it. That's all I can ask for. I'm the happiest guy in the world doing it. It is the most fun I have in my life is playing.
Great. Good.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Good to hear that.
Yeah.
And now I'm sure you're going to say something similar, but
Well, yeah, and the good Lord willing, let's just keep doing what we do. And I think it was Brian Adams once said, that you keep following the creative muse. You know what I mean? Like you're writing that next song, you know, and the next show. We interpret the songs a little bit differently every night too, you know. Like somebody once said to Tony Bennett, "Aren't you sick and tired of singing 'I Left My Heart in San Francisco'?" And he said, "No, I sing it different every night."
Yeah.
You know, so it's like that, and yeah, I mean, not to go back to my current album, but it's called Al Harlow Now. And I'm just mastering some of my 70s studio stuff, like when my old buddies in the Seats of Time, which with a name change to PRISM, when we formulated the band, I was in the studio doing my first solo album, and I've still got those masters. So that's now called Al Harlow Then. So I'm wanting to get that little double whammy out there, you know, Al Harlow Now, Al Harlow Then. And I think I got a gospel album in me, and I think, and this band definitely, we got to hit that studio right away. We've been talking about it too long. It's time for a new PRISM record. And then the biggest thrill is to get out there and play that stuff live. And it's hard to describe if a person hasn't experienced it. To take something, you know, that's in your mind, you write it down, you got the lyrics, you got the music, to get together with the guys and do an arrangement. And then when you get it on that stage and people are singing along with it and they've heard it on the radio, there's nothing that can touch that. It's a thrill. It's an absolute thrill. And the thrill never wears off.
No.
B.B. King was wrong.
What's that, Mark?
B.B. King was wrong.
The thrill is not going.
Right.
Right on. Well, you know, all I personally hope is that in 5 years I'm still getting to go see you guys play live, and I cannot thank you guys enough for being all here tonight. This has just been an absolute blast, and you know, on behalf of all the fans and viewers, I just want to thank you guys for providing songs that were and still are literally the soundtrack to our lives. And we're so proud that you're Canadian, and I'm so proud to call you my friends, and I just can't thank you guys enough for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kelly.
Continued success, and we're all going to see you this spring and summer at some point somewhere.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we'll see you out there.
Take care.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's so great to be back with you. Join me again next week. I'm super excited to welcome Chris Burke-Gaffney of the Sportman and Harlequin.
Hey.
Yeah.
So Chris will be here next week.
Yeah,
we'll see you all then. So till then, stay safe and sane. Take care. Be really nice to each other. Bye-bye, everybody.
Be good.
Right on, Kelly.